print B or CNC?
See it.
Okay. Now, especially with my forms, I really have to compress the bottoms. It's key. Because you don't want to spend 60 hours on a pot that's going to S-crack on you. So take the 5 minutes to do it. Really just like a minute, but when you're starting out, it takes 5 minutes.
So for you new folks, building a pot is just like, really like the coil pots. You work from the bottom up. You have to establish the floor of the piece before you pull the walls up. So after you get it centered, then you have to establish the floor, whether it's a bowl floor or a flat slab type floor, whichever one. Then you can start working the walls up. But compress, compress, compress. You know, we're always talking about that.
So judging with my fingers, it's about a ½ inch thick. That's normally what I like. Because I carve away teeth at the bottom now. Is what I'm calling them, yeah.
The indentions are called teeth. So
I call them teeth. Like
okay.
my feet. My feet are called teeth.
Your feet are called teeth?
Yeah, because that's
okay.
what I'm looking at. I'm also looking at mammal and camel toes for inspiration too, around the teeth. So once again, just looking at weird things.
Magic.
So it's a nice cylinder right now, but there's all this clay down here. So this is going to be fun.
Thanks. Glad you could make it. Everyone say bye to Eric.
Bye, Eric.
Okay. I'm sure it won't be long.
Next month. Wait,
month?
next month as of tomorrow.
A month and a half, right?
Yeah. November,
yeah.
Also, when you're throwing this big, make sure you have enough water for lubrication inside of the pot, because you will get stuck and it will tug with you. And make sure you get the water off the floor, because that's another cause of S-cracks, is that you don't want a giant puddle at the bottom spinning around. So,
Off the floor of the pot, not the floor of the floor. Clarify.
try to keep your hands in sync and also watch on your pottery throw lines. It's much like a record on vinyl. You don't want to have a big gap. So I've been wanting to make Wedgwood pots.
Really?
So
Very fancy.
yeah. So I want to fake it with raku, which I think will be funny.
So
And I've
you're-
also been focusing on the tea bowl shape, the very classic Japanese tea bowls.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna say your red one that you're drinking out of. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, but I've been focusing on like these egg-shaped ones. They're really elegant and also hold a lot of liquid. So
Shelley Tharp influence there?
maybe.
You never know.
Was it Shelley that was throwing the egg shape? I thought it was Janice for some reason.
She was going through her divorce, and then we realized that all of her forms were sort of based on an egg shape. It's like, she was kind of like going back to the beginning.
Oh.
There was a very centering shape for her.
Okay, so if anyone wants to fill, it's almost of the same thickness, all the way down to right around here.
Go, Andrew. Go.
And that'll be where I trim and I cut into a whole lot. Dave,
Okay.
you wanna fill? No?
Go for it.
Wet hands?
Should I surround wants to eat it?
The ren is the ren is a little
I'll
thicker.
put on your watch.
So
I got it. Check out. Nice. Very nice.
yeah.
And so what you see here, this like half-inch thickness, it's like almost half that when you get down into it. It's much thinner when you get down to it.
It's also really important to have this heavier because you don't want this to go off center. So the heavier the bottom is, the more it can actually withstand going up. So now for my actual work, I don't want throw lines except on the inside. So metal rib is great. Otherwise, the Sherwin Mud Tools Red is really wonderful. Although since I've been using really, really groggy clay, it leaves lines now. So that's great.
Time to get a new one?
Yeah. They're like $7. Who can afford that?
Yeah, I went to Dallas and even the tiny ones were $7.
Yeah, they're all the same price.
Yeah. That made me kind of like unhappy.
I don't
Felt
think
cheated.
it's anything really about the material, but the probably relatively small batches. It's such a specialty item.
Heck yeah.
And where are they made? Do they originate?
They're not from the States.
Yeah, I figure they're probably like fabricated in China or something.
Yeah.
Well,
$7 for the tiny one, $7 for the really big ones. Like with the really big ones, it sounds great. The tiny ones, not so much.
but you know those tiny red ones are wonderful for bowls.
Yes, I have one.
Just buy the big one and cut it in half.
It's not the
They weren't the
same.
same.
Sure.
Same shape.
Not the same. And it has a weird
You cut it.
edge on it then.
That's why those ribs are so much better than credit cards. Although with a Dremel tool, you can get a credit card looking pretty good.
I have a stack of credit cards, like old ones somewhere.
If anybody needs a credit card to make their own rib, then holler.
I meant to bring them up and I never
Me and
did.
Megan, we've got plenty.
Clay hoarders. Hoarders of tools or something.
Such a tool.
That's a lot of clay.
So I see you've got your plaster recycle thing made out right here.
Yep, for all the scrap clay, so that once I'm done with this spot, I can actually go and make another one.
That's great.
Did you make the plaster slab or did you buy one?
That is mine. Plaster's really cheap. You just gotta make sure you take care of it before you actually use it. And not to chip it, so no metal tools should ever touch it. That's a lot.
You got it like an extra sideburn on your head now.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what you do with clay on hot days. Keeps you cool.
Until it dries.
Just like
There goes all my neck hair.
I didn't do a good job cutting off from the bottom, so I have to clean it up a little bit. that's basically the shape I'm going after. Because this is now a blank canvas to play with.
And it does look rather like a giant tea bowl.
Also maybe what are those jars for human remains?
An urn?
No, the Egypt ones.
Cannot big jars.
Cannolis?
Jars.
Yes.
I'm thinking like appetizers.
Cannolis?
Delicious canoping jars.
Okay, so we need appetizers served, canopies served in canopic jars.
Like, what is this delicious spice you have on these?
These lemon bars are great.
Thank you.
So I do alter on the pot, on the wheel as soon as I throw it, so I can get the broad strokes. Those I'm not going to do on the wheel because they're a little smaller, but I go for the trivet feet, so 3 feet. So there's the main base, and that's the main opening at the bottom, which will be like right here. And then I have 2 smaller openings right here. And that's to lift up the pot because it's heavy. Look.
Tell us again what you just said about openings.
I do a trivet feet, so the teeth are made by making openings at the bottom.
Oh, okay, so they don't exist yet.
They don't exist yet. There's a main one and then 2 side entrances to every spot. And that's to try to get it to the heavy pot to lift up. So I'm just going to dig my hand into the pot. Don't cut it off the wheel because you're still spinning. So just... And just like the bottom of the floor, compress anything you do because you don't want it to fall on you. So I'm going to go inside. And let's see, so main one, and it kind of looks like a mouth and a tonsil maybe right now.
I believe is the word you're looking for.
Thank you.
Oh, fall.
So these are what I call my
I don't know if I got anything.
inside
Okay.
my inside voice is that they're moose knuckle now.
Moose knuckle?
It's an imaginary term.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like,
whatsoever.
Yeah.
wouldn't their knuckle be like a big bone?
It's
No. Okay, never mind. Shut up.
Google it later.
No, I don't wanna. No. I'm thinking like, never mind.
Oh, jeez.
So innocent.
Shut up. I'm thinking like my dogs.
And you know they also have a diaper-like filling to them too. So it's just like all this.
Did you say filling or feeling?
Feeling.
The filling will come later.
Why is your hand in a diaper?
So I've been making this shape forever, and I think of it as the bottom half of a torso, really, because this is the crotch, and then it goes up, and this is the belly. So also thinking about muscle, but now I'm going to think about if this was the front and this is the butt, where does the belly go? Where does the crevice go? And so these are very, I'm doing basic sketching. And now that I have that, now I can distort to the point where you probably won't see that again. Because now I want to look at fat folds.
It's amazing how easy you make this look. You're just.
Well, it's the metal tool. The metal tool will compress the sides so it doesn't collapse on you. The rib. It's the best thing.
Go, bud.
Yeah, and it's hard to explain, but you have to think about, you cannot go thin, you're just moving the clay. Do not move it too much where you're really thinning it out, because that'll come later, and if you want to do any texturing, you need the thickness still. Because I will still carve these lines, and probably spend hours trying to define them. That's basic right now. And that's probably all I can do before it really collapses. Turn off the wheel when you stand up. And just walk away.
Good